Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, if we can come as a halqa, barakallah fikum. Maybe before we start, is it halqa or halaqa? Huh? Halaqa? Halqa? Halqa, yes, not halaqa. So what is the difference? Halaqa means the plural of halaq, of barbers. Yeah. So if you want to have a halaqa, you want to go to the barbers. Barakallah fikum. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعا مرحوما واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. اللهم لا تجعل فينا ولا بيننا ولا منا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم يا رحمن يا رحيم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم آمين. Last Sunday we talked about Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala, and today we're talking about the Imam al-Nawawi. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala is one of a kind. He lived a life that is really unique in almost every aspect. And I just want to tell you one thing, that Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala used to be called the reviver of the Shafi'i madhab. There wasn't any scholar in the Shafi'i madhab more knowledgeable and more contributing to the madhab than two ulama, Imam al-Rafi'i and Imam al-Nawawi. And those two, if you are reading through the fiqh of Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala, they call them al-Shaykhain. Just like how in the hadith we say Rawahu al-Shaykhan, we mean who? Al-Bukhari and Muslim. In the fiqh of al-Shafi'i, if they say al-Shaykhan, they mean Imam al-Rafi'i and Imam al-Nawawi. But the thing here is that, subhanAllah, Imam al-Nawawi has authored so many books, to the extent that they said if we were to distribute the number of pages that he has written from his first day of life until he passed away, they say that every single day he would write, they call it in Arabic kurrasain, and kurrasain means like 2 notebooks. And subhanallah, they used to say that Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala would not sleep until he collapsed. So he would always be awake, just working on the knowledge, either studying or researching or authoring or teaching. And I just want to list some of his contributions, and then inshallah I'll talk about his biography. Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala has authored a book that perhaps is the most widely accepted and distributed book after Quran, which is Riyadh al-Salihin. Who does not have Riyadh al-Salihin? Who does not have it? Do you all have it? Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Riyadh al-Salihin is the most widely accepted book after Quran. Of course, he is quoting from Imam al-Bukhari, from Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and others. But the nice thing about Riyadh al-Salihin is that it talks about the topics that every Muslim needs to have on their daily life and in their entire life. So by covering Riyadh al-Salihin from end to end, you are acquainted by what you need from the Sunnah in order to establish a life that follows Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But that was just a simple thing that he did. Actually, he authored a book in fiqh called Minhaj al-Talibin wa Umdat al-Muftin, and he authored another book called Rawdat al-Talibin, and all of these are in the fiqh of al-Shafi'i. But Minhaj al-Talibin is one volume, one thick volume with fine print, and that one thick volume has been memorized by almost every Shafi'i. If you study Madhab al-Shafi'i, you must memorize it. You just cannot go without that. It's called Minhaj al-Talibin wa Umdat al-Muftin. And subhanAllah, they reported thousands of ulama attempting to explain it, to even extend it. And then he did a book called Rawdat al-Talibin, and it's about, I think, 7 volumes. And it goes into a lot of details in the fiqh al-Shafi. And then he authored a book called Al-Majmu'. Al-Majmu' is, they say that the books in fiqh in general, in all the madhahib, the best 2 of them, of all madhahib, a book called Al-Mughni, which is by Ibn Qudama, and this one, Al-Majmu' by Imam al-Nawawi. He authored so many books in hadith, and so in mustalah, and usul al-fiqh, and even in the Arabic language and its complexity. But the thing here is that he was born in 631, year 631 Hijri, and guess when he passed away? Huh? 676. So how many years did he live? 45 years. He lived only 45 years. He passed away at the age of 45. His father passed away after him by 9 years. So he passed away very young. And subhanAllah, this Imam rahimahullah ta'ala never got married in his life. Never. 45 years of continuous contribution. Well, 45 years of life, but his continuous contribution was that 45 minus 20, because he only started to become a contributor in authoring when he was 20 years. So let's talk more about him. So in year 631, he was born, rahimahullah ta'ala. His father was called Sharaf. So his name is Yahya, and they usually call it Muhyiddin. Muhyiddin means the reviver of the religion. He used to hate that name. He used to say, whoever says about me, Muhyiddin, I will not forgive him on the day of judgment. Because Muhyiddin, or the reviver of the religion, is such a huge title that he just didn't like to be used for him. So usually the ulama call him Al-Imam Muhyiddin Yahya ibn Sharaf al-Nawawi. Al-Nawawi is actually coming from a city called Nawa. And Nawa is almost 50 miles south of Damascus. So Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala was from that Bilad al-Sham. And those were the most blessed ulama during their time. Bilad al-Sham, whether it is Palestine, and Syria, Jordan, or Lebanon at this time, in their time it was called Bilad al-Sham. And he was born in that Nawa, and then he, at his early age, his father had a merchant store. We call it Dukkan. And he placed his son there. And his son was very pious, was very attached to the Quran, but he was not into knowledge. He was not into seeking knowledge. So he placed his son in that dukkan, or in that merchant store, and people would go back and forth to purchase, or even pass by the marketplace and see him there. So they would find him reading from the Quran and memorizing Quran, reading and memorizing. And his father has placed him also in a place to memorize Quran under one of the mashayikh to teach him Quran. And subhanallah, he was so active and so enthusiastic about that, to the extent that one day a scholar came from Morocco. Anyone from Morocco here? Anyone? Okay. He came from Morocco. His name was Yasin ibn Yusuf al-Marrakeshi. You know Marrakesh? Yeah, his name was Yasin ibn Yusuf al-Marrakeshi. He was, and everyone used to go to Bilad al-Sham to seek knowledge. So he came and he found him in the masjid along with other kids. They were trying to pull him to play with him, but he would not like that. To the extent that when they insisted that he would play, he cried and he ran to continue with his Quran. So that Imam Yasin ibn Yusuf al-Marrakeshi saw this and he was like, this must be something else. So he went to his teacher and he said, I ask you by Allah to pay special attention to this young kid because he will be something. And I see in him not only a piety, but also I see in him a smartness that I do believe that he will become one of the most knowledgeable people in this life. So guess what the Sheikh of the Quran has told him? He said, are you a fortune teller? How could you dare to say this? How could you know the future? I don't buy this word, this statement. And subhanAllah, Imam al-Nawawi heard what al-Marrakeshi has said, and since then he changed his entire thinking about seeking knowledge. So he insisted on his dad that he wants to seek knowledge more and more. So his dad took him to Damascus. So they were in Nawa, and that's why he is called Nawawi. By the way, it is more accurate to say Nawawi than Nawawi, although both are fine. But because the city is called Nawa, so Nawawi is an often used word to describe it. So his father left with him from Nawa to Damascus, about 50 miles. In Damascus, immediately this young man went to the Mufti of Damascus, Al-Rabai. His name was Al-Rabai. And subhanAllah, he started to seek knowledge with him, and he was about 18 years old. After spending 2 years of his time there, he became capable of actually giving fatwas. So at the age of 20, he became capable of giving fatwa. But guess, subhanAllah, what he did? When he first came to Damascus at the age of 18, he couldn't find any financial support except through his father. And his father was very average or below average. So they couldn't really, he couldn't survive with only his father's support. So they found him a place to stay or to live at. And that place was very simple, almost like a room and a bathroom. And that was it. And subhanAllah, he stayed in Damascus for how many years? 28 years. Until he died. Before his death by a few weeks, he went back to Nawa and he passed away in Nawa and he was buried there. But his knowledge journey was primarily in Damascus for 28 years only. So all those books that we were talking about were done in 28 years. SubhanAllah, the Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala did not leave Damascus except for Hajj and to visit some of the scholars of Shafi'iyya, and he went also for the Umrahs. And you can, subhanAllah, you can imagine how this Imam, rahimahullah ta'ala, at this very young age, was able to impress all the scholars in his time. By the way, when we say Damascus, in his time, Damascus was the capital of knowledge. Just like how Baghdad at one day was, just like how Mecca and Medina were, Damascus was at their time, the center, the capital of knowledge. Like scholars from everywhere would just come to Damascus because that is the city of ulama. And subhanAllah, yet at a very young age, he became so popular that people would come from all over to just study under him. Imam al-Nawawi rahmahullah ta'ala, in his halqas, in his daily life, if you say, tell me what a typical day of Imam al-Nawawi looked like, he used to have 12 knowledge sessions. 12. So this is one, for example, we're doing one here. He would have 12 in every single day. 12, and each one with different subjects. That was Imam al-Nawawi rahmahullah ta'ala. They used to say that he was not, as much as he was very well known in his knowledge, but that was not the biggest thing of him. The biggest thing that they saw in him was his zuhud and ibadah. Like how much this person was pious and so much into worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by the way, this is not very easy to find in a single person. Like most of the time, people who are very devoted to knowledge, they may skip many of Qiyam al-Layl, they may skip other things because they would spend all their day on something and they get so tired, so they just use the night for sleeping. But Imam al-Nawawi rahmahullah ta'ala was known for his piety even more than how he was known for his knowledge, rahimahullah ta'ala. And Imam al-Nawawi, again, he did not get married. Does anyone remember or know other big scholars who did not get married? Ibn Taymiyyah did not get married. True. And who else? There's a scholar in tafsir. I hope inshallah one day we'll talk about him. He is considered to be the head or the father of all those who wrote in tafsir. Who is he? His tafsir is the most authentic one. No, before Ibn Kathir. No, Ibn Kathir came a long time after him. No, his name was At-Tabari. At-Tabari. Imam Ibn Jarir At-Tabari did not get married. Never. And he was the number one scholar in tafsir. And he was early time. So Imam At-Tabari, Imam Nawawi, Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, all these were scholars who did not get married. Now the question is, did they not get married intentionally? No, it was not intentional. It was just they could not find the time to even look for a wife.
So in order to be a big scholar, you have to give up marriage?
No. See, this is wrong. Because Rasulullah ﷺ got married, and Abu Bakr got married, and Umar got married. Most of the Sahaba got married. But what I was trying to say is that actually, it was stated that Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala was about to get married, and he actually identified the family. He went to seek the daughter's hand in marriage, and they arranged for a day to do this celebration. On that day, a person came to ask him a question after Salat al-Asr. So he spent the time all the way to the midnight, and he forgot about his wedding. So that was him. And when he found this, and people came and, where are you? What are you doing? He said, if I'm going to forget about my marriage from day one, then I will not be doing justice to my wife. And he just stayed without marriage. but those were so unique, right? And that's why those imams have left a heritage that no one else could do. Rahimahumullah. Okay, so back to Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala. From among the things that the scholars have said about him is that how, subhanAllah, generous he was despite how poor he was. Guess what was the thing that he would eat? When they found him this very humble, simple room to stay next to the masjid, he wasn't alone, because there were multiple students of knowledge who would go through the same housing. And in Damascus, they used to, the tujjar, the merchants, used to bring some bread to distribute among these students of knowledge. So that was his food. That was his food. But the thing, subhanAllah, was that he used to eat, and then he used to divide it into half, eat something, and take the other half to give it to the more needy people. So that was Imam al-Nawawi. Imam al-Nawawi was known that he wouldn't eat from the fruits of Damascus. Guess why? Yeah, fruits, the corpse, fruits and vegetables. He wouldn't. Guess why? He said he said that Damascus in the old time was known as a land of waqf, endowment. And unfortunately, through some time, people forgot about which land is waqf and which land is not, because it was like the enormous number of lands that were waqf. So some of the lands were remembered as waqf, and others they were forgotten. And on those lands they have those fruit trees. So he said, if I eat fruit from Damascus, then there is a chance that it may be coming from a land that was meant to be waqf, and that is haram. Well, I met with one scholar who asked me, where are you? This was at the very early time when I came here to the US. And he said, I asked him, would you be willing to come and give, be there to do da'wah? And he said, I'm afraid that this land, I don't know the history, which of the land was taken by force and which of the land was not. So I would rather stay away from that. So the taqwa or piety that some of the ulama had went really extraordinary far. That they would think about things. And I still remember one of my mashayikh, I saw him, he had this, at the very early time we used to have something called flip phone, right? You know flip phone? If you still remember it. There was something called Nokia. And so he had, actually before flip phone, it was just this device. It has a small screen and just buttons. So his battery was dead. So I said, and we were in a class to do usul al-fiqh. So I asked him, shall I just bring you the charger to charge it? He said, I cannot use it in the masjid. I cannot, because this electricity is made waqf, and I just cannot use it. I still remember Shaykh Ibn Baz rahmatullah alayh, he wouldn't even use a pen that is owned by the masjid. He would not. He would rather borrow from someone to give him a pen to write something, because he said even that ink that comes from the pen is a waqf fi sabilillah. So yeah, I mean we had those ulama. And by the way, anything that I just said about taqwa and wara', may not be applicable to everyone. You just cannot do it, especially in today's life where things have been mixed all over. So what we can do is what the Rasul ﷺ has said, سددوا وقاربوا, that do your best. Just do your best to stay away from anything that is obviously haram, and do the things that are obviously halal. Now, if we may get back to Imam al-Nawawi's books, one of the books that, or not books, actually a short book that he authored was Al-Arba'in al-Nawawiyya. You know that? Okay, so how many hadith are in the 40 Nawawi hadith? Huh? 42. It was 42. So, but yet it was called 40. So why was it called 40 when it was 42?
There's a hadith about AlSalam, about the 40 hadith or something. And there's many scholars actually wrote some books about like.
What was the hadith? That you are true, you are correct. So there's a hadith that says, whoever من حفظ على أمتي 40 حديثا في أمور دينها حشره الله مع الفقهاء والعلماء أو كما قال. Whoever saves or protects for my ummah 40 hadith, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will place them among the ulama, among the scholars in the Day of Judgment. Now, Imam al-Nawawi himself said that this hadith is not authentic, but most of the ulama have used it. And there, one of the scholars, I believe it was al-Sakhawi, he mentioned that there were hundreds of big scholars who have authored a different list of 40 hadith because of this. And the only one that we know is the 40 Nawawi hadith. Why is that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the barakah. He was the one that, subhanAllah, was unanimously accepted by all the scholars. Like, yes, he was a Shafi'i imam, but not a single house in most of the Muslim countries except that they would accept that and benefit from his Riyadh al-Salihin, Arba'in Nawawiyya, and of course the other books, that especially those that he did in Arabic language. One important thing about 40 Nawawi hadith is that, subhanAllah, he selected them to be the ones that were so crucial in people's life. And there were so many different scholars who came to not only author other 40 hadith, but also to explain the hadith that he did. One of the most important explanation books or tafsir book of 40 Nawawi hadith was done by Imam Ibn Rajab, and it is called Jami'ul Ulumi wal Hikam. Imam Ibn Rajab got the 42 hadith from Imam al-Nawawi, and he added to that another 8, so a total of 50. And then he explained all those ahadith in a book called Jami' al-Ulum wal-Hikam. It is considered to be one of the most important steps for any seeker of knowledge to learn this book, Jami' al-Ulum wal-Hikam, because it, subhanAllah, it combines between the barakah of Imam al-Nawawi and the barakah of Imam Ibn Rajab. Now, Imam al-Nawawi was Shafi'i, Ibn Rajab was Hanbali, mashallah alayk. One of the things I would like to mention here is that if you take it on the level of 4 scholars, 4 imams, Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmad bin Hanbal, who were the 2 imams that were known for hadith? Ahmad bin Hanbal and Malik. And who were the 2 imams who were known for fiqh more? Abu Hanifa and Shafi'i. So subhanAllah, the Imam Abu Hanifa himself was more known in fiqh than hadith. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, on the contrary, was more known in the hadith than fiqh. Similarly, Shafi'i was more known for fiqh, and Malik was more known for his hadith. But the scholars who came after them, Imam al-Shafi'i, subhanAllah, was known for his fiqh. The vast majority of scholars in hadith were Shafi'i. You have Imam al-Nawawi, you have Imam ibn Hajar, you have Imam ibn al-Salah, you have Imam al-Sakhawi, al-Mazzi, Ibn Kathir. All of these were Shafi'i. And they were the Imams of hadith. Guess what? On the contrary, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal was known for what? For hadith, right? The one family that has produced the highest number of fuqaha over 200 years was a family called Al-Maqadisa. And among them was Imam Ibn Qudama. Those were all Hanbali. And remember, I told you the most important book of comparative fiqh was Al-Mughni, and then Al-Majmu'. But Al-Mughni was authored by Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi al-Hanbali, rahimahullah. And that's, subhanAllah, very interesting, because Imam al-Shafi'i's most important scholar was Hanbali. But yet he's Shafi'i. And why do we say those things? It's actually to tell everyone that the differences in madahib, it just reflects the way people think. That's it. It doesn't reflect anything else. And subhanAllah, those ulama radiallahu anhum wa ardahum, they used to get from everyone. When they commit themselves to certain practice, that's a different story. But when they seek their knowledge, they never limit themselves to any madhab. They would study with everyone. What they practice on their daily life, on their own life, that's a different thing. Yes, Imam al-Nawawi was known to be practicing the Shafi'i madhab. Imam Ibn Abi al-Izz. Anyone knows Ibn Abi al-Izz? Anyone knows Al-Tahawi? Huh? Okay, those were ulama and aqidah. And those were Hanafis. Those were great scholars in Hanafi madhab. But at the same time, they were so known for their aqidah. And this is the most accurate books of aqidah. Imam Ibn Abi al-Izz, al-Hanafi, and Aqidah al-Tahawi. So it's very interesting to see how the students of knowledge of certain madahib have gone, into some patterns. As I said, 200 years of one family contributing a scholar after scholar in the fiqh, and they were all from Bilad al-Maqdis, from Jerusalem. And those were the Hanbali family. In fact, they used to say that had it not been that this family has contributed to the fiqh of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, the whole entire fiqh of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal would have gone, because they were the ones who revived it. Rahimahumullah. Okay, so I want to ask a question. Was there any time in the past 10 or 15 years at Masjid AlSalam that Jami' al-Ulum wal-Hikam was explained, which is the 40 Nawawi hadith, the 42 Nawawi hadith, and plus the 8, which makes it 50 for by Imam Ibn Rajab? Never. Okay. Yeah, that's actually one of the great things for any Muslim to have. And in fact, if you count the number of hadith, how many? 50. How many weeks are in a year? 52. So you take 2 days of break, 2 weeks of break, and the entire year you would do this. I'm saying this just as a potential thing that we can do in the future, inshallah. Similarly, in past Sunday, I was talking about Sahih al-Bukhari. There are some books or chapters within Sahih al-Bukhari that would change someone's life. Like, for example, there's a book called Al-Riqaq. Al-Riqaq is like the heart softeners. There's a book which talks, for example, which says, for example, hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, where she said, "Wallahi inna kunna na'uddu al-hilala wal-hilalayn la yuqadu fi bayti Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." That I swear by Allah, we used to spend a month over a month, like 2 months, and never in a single day that we would be able to cook something with fire at the house. Yes. Yes. Aisha radiallahu anha. Yeah. Okay, so if I may just continue with the last few things there. Imam Nawawi rahmahullah ta'ala again spent about 28 years in Damascus. He did his books, mashallah. He used to teach about 12 sessions every single day. And then he went to, he had a problem with the ruler at that time, or the king at that time. When he was born, it was still the Khilafah al-Abbasiyya. But when he passed away, it was a time that we call them al-Mamalik. I don't know wallahi the English word for it, but it was another Khilafah at that time, Mamalik. Mamalik, by the way, used to be slaves. Used to be slaves. And for some reason, they managed to become in power and they ruled the whole place. Have you heard about a name called Qutuz? Have you heard about a name called Al-Zahir Babers? Those were Mamalik. They used to be slaves. They used to sell them in the market. Yes. But subhanAllah, they managed to become a power. Anyways, Qutuz and Al-Zahir Babers were among the greatest leaders of Muslims who actually fought against the Crusades, who fought against the Mughals. And subhanAllah, Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala had 2 incidents with Al-Zahir Babers in particular. Al-Zahir Babers, I think he was the 4th Khalifa of, or the 4th leader of Al-Mamalik in the chronological order, right? He was the 4th one. So the first incident was when Al-Zahir Babers has made a command about those awqaf of Damascus. Imam al-Nawawi said, no, you just cannot do that. And it became a big fitna. So Zahir Babers has requested that any scholar who will not obey him should be killed. And he killed multiple of them. But when it came to the point where only Imam al-Nawawi was left, Al-Zahir Babers could not kill him. And he was asked, what is it? Like, why are you not doing this? And Zahir Babers has said, Wallahi, every time I would like to attack him or command one of my soldiers to kill him, I see something scary that comes from his side. It just makes me scared. And finally what happened was that Imam al-Nawawi said, if you don't like me here, I'm going to leave the area. And he left. He left Damascus to go back to his city. But then, subhanAllah, this crusade war happened. And the one who really pushed the Muslims to go and defend the lands of Muslims was Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala. The one who actually supported this man, Al-Zahir Babers, was Imam al-Nawawi, despite the fact that Al-Zahir Babers wanted to kill him. So then he went back to Damascus, and Al-Zahir Babers repented, and he made him among the closest one to him. Now, I just want you to take a step back and think about scholars on those days and scholars in today's time. I mean, in their days, the scholar was the leader, not only in knowledge, but here it was he risked himself to go and get the Muslims into, defending the land of Muslims. Like those crusades are actually taking over the Muslim lands in Syria and Palestine, and he was the one who would stand in front of them, and he would take or encourage all the people to go. In today's time, we see and we hear some scholars who would say, be quiet, don't worry, you cannot say the word. And some of them actually say that whoever goes that route of rejecting or at least condemning why this massacre is taking place in Palestine, they would call these people as they call them Khawarij, or they give them some of those titles to defame them. Because subhanAllah, those mashayikh, even wallahi to the extent that some of the mashayikh said, if you want to boycott products that come from the oppressors, and you don't have a permission from your Wali al-Amr or the king or whoever, then you are making a big sin to that extent. And subhanAllah, I know this may not be very common, alhamdulillah, at least in our neighborhood, but this is something that we've been seeing a lot. And unfortunately, the definition of a scholar in today's time is very limited to just knowing some knowledge. But in their time, a scholar was an imam in every aspect. Not only imam in prayer, not only imam in providing the knowledge, but imam in his wara, in his practice of the religion, in his zuhud, in his piety, and imam also on top of all of that in people's life. He would be the one going and defending Islam and Muslim and putting his life under risk. And in their time, it wasn't like here. I mean, now, alhamdulillah, at least we can protest peacefully, right? We can say no peacefully. And it is fine by law and everything is good. But in their times, it wasn't like that. If anyone would go against the mainstream, they will execute him. But those were our scholars, subhanAllah. They wouldn't fear anyone. And that was the thing that made them to be loved by the people. I mean, if had it been only that they have knowledge, wallahi, no one would remember them. But it was in every aspect of their life, they were imams. So that was part of his life, rahimahullah ta'ala. He passed away 676. And again, he went to Hajj, and then he came back and he was sick. And so he went to visit his father in Nawa, and he passed away there. His father passed away after him by 9 years. And I want you to think about this. If Allah blesses you with a son like Imam al-Nawawi, and you lose that, what do you feel? So Imam Sharaf, who was the father of Imam al-Nawawi, rahimahullah ta'ala, got so sad. But he himself was very well known for his piety as well, to the extent that Ibn al-Attar was one of the major students of Imam al-Nawawi. Ibn al-Attar said that the father of Imam al-Nawawi, when he passed away, they made Salat al-Janaza for him in all the city of Damascus, for how well known he was. And by the way, inshallah, this is one of the things I will explain at a future time. You know this prayer of absentee? You know that? Salat al-Janaza, when the person is not available. So the ulama have difference of opinion about it. And I just want to tell you, in the Shafi'i madhab, it's widely accepted. So they may do it, a person may do Salat al-Ghaib for his uncle who passed away in a different country. In the Shafi'i madhab, it's accepted. In the Hanafi madhab, it's not accepted at all. It's not permissible to do absentee prayer. In the Hanbali and Maliki madhab, they have conditions. So for example, Imam Malik says that if the person who passed away never got the Salat al-Janaza on him, like for example, someone dies in the sea and sink in the ocean, for example, no one would pray Salat Janazah on him, so it's permissible to do Salat al-Ghaib on him. Similarly, Ahmad bin Hanbal said if the person is very well known for being so great to the Ummah, just like how al-Najashi was, then it is permissible. But the reason, Wallahu A'lam, that they made Salat al-Ghaib on the father was because of how much they knew about his piety, and that bi'idhnillah has produced a person like Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. And I think I would like to conclude here with one last thing, which is, if you have a pious family, then you should inshallah expect a pious child. Because that is, when you grow your children with halal income, when you grow your children fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when your children wake up in the dark night and find you praying Salat al-Tahajjud, when your kids get used to see their mother fasting the Monday and Thursday, when your kids always find you with uttering words that please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and never backbite or lie, this is exactly what makes the children, inshallah, be pious like Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, and like Imam al-Bukhari and others. And I hope that, inshallah, for us going through those ulama, and not only we're learning about them and learning about their books, which we eventually, inshallah, will try to teach, but more importantly, is actually for us to think about one thing: how can we reproduce those ulama? I think if we don't get that, we're not getting nothing. The most important thing that we need to get is, are we able to reproduce the likes of Imam al-Bukhari, Imam al-Nawawi, Imam Abu Hanifa, any of those Imams? What is it? Like, how come the entire Ummah for the past 100 years could not do any of that? I mean, what we have now are celebrities. We do have celebrities. We do have people who go on the social media and mashallah millions of people just follow them. But that's not what Imam al-Nawawi was. Actually, Imam al-Nawawi has said, if you call me Muhyiddin, I will be your opponent in the Day of Judgment. Rahimahullah ta'ala. Okay, so with that, inshallah, I conclude. Let's see if you have any question, barakallah fikum. Or any addition, anything, inshallah, you would like to share. Yes?
What's the one advice you would give to our parents for their child?
One advice?
To raise a child.
One advice? One may? Choose the right spouse, inshallah. Choose the right spouse, because raising children does not start after they get born. It starts before you choose your righteous path. Inshallah. Yes, Akhi.
I do not understand the 42 hadith. Why does it want to 40?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah. The word 40 is coming from a hadith of that they say Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, whoever keeps 40 hadith for my ummah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect them as a scholar or one of the scholars. So the hadith talks about 40, exactly 40. Imam al-Nawawi first has, I think he has compiled 36, and then he added and he wanted to add four more, but he added 6. So it was just his I think, wallahu alam, if I understand it correctly, that he could not filter the 42 any further and just limit it to 40. He said, I already did the 40 and I still see that those two must go with them. Yeah. But other ulama who have authored in the same way, they just limited that to 40. Allah barak fik. And we still call it the 40 Nawawi Hadith, Arba'un Nawawiyya, just because of the blessing of that hadith, which happened to be not authentic, weak. But the meaning of it, wallahu alam, is fine. So when we say, by the way, a weak hadith, it doesn't necessarily mean that the statement in itself is wrong. Sometimes the chain is weak, but the hadith itself is fine. Yeah. Any questions, inshallah?
Has to be, if it's not related to the subject, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sometime you take a break after reciting, when you doing Imam,
Yeah.
after Wala Dhalin, and quiet.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Some Imam follow that, and some don't follow it, and even some Hanbali and
Yeah.
Shafi'i don't follow it. And, where does it come from? Is it okay to make that stop? I mean,
Yeah.
I apologize, not being.
Yeah. No worries, inshallah. So the question is there a pause after Surah Al-Fatiha when you pray, right? So the authentic ahadith about this, and if you can go also to a book like Zad al-Ma'ad fi Hadi Khair al-Ibad by Ibn Qayyim. They used to say that the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would pause very little. Yeah, not long enough that you may recite something. Very little. And that is why in the Hanafi madhab they say that the recitation of the Imam is enough for the ma'mum. And they have a great point. They have a strong point on it. In the Shafi'i madhab they rely on another hadith in which Rasulullah has said, La salata liman lam yaqra bi al-kitab. That the prayer is not considered for anyone who does not recite Fatiha. And so did the Hanabila. And that's why in the Shafi'i and Hanbali school of thought, it's recommended that the Imam would give enough time. Yeah, enough time. But there is another authentic hadith that actually combines between the two perspectives, in which Rasulullah led the prayer. And after the prayer, he said, I heard you reciting while I was reciting. Don't do it unless you are reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. لا تفعلوه إلا أن يكون بأم الكتاب. So this hadith, many of the muhaqqiqeen, like the later fuqaha, have said this combines between the ruling that reciting Surah Al-Fatiha is mandatory on everyone, but at the same time the Imam does not need to give that pause between them, like long pause. Yeah, Allah Alaikum. So what I do, by the way, just to let you know, I don't mind if people do not recite Surah Al-Fatiha at a loud prayer behind the Imam, because there is a strong opinion about it. But I always say, to be in the safe side, recite it. Because in the Shafi'i and the Hanbali madhab, the salah is nullified. Yeah. And inshallah, those fiqh masail, I'll explain there more inshallah later. One of the things I really would like to establish here is that we all respect the four madhab. And that respect, even if you don't follow, that's fine. But the most important thing is for us to appreciate what others are doing. Yeah. Allah yazakum al-khair. طيب, stop here inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.